Good evening. The time is 6:31 PM and I call this meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance, please. Roll call, please.
Mayor Jeffrey,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cohen,
Here.
Trustee Westcott, Trustee White,
Here.
Trustee Bristow, Trustee Tapey.
Here. Thank you. We do have a quorum this evening, even though we have two trustees out for excused absences. Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion, please?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. We have trustee White with the motion, trustee Tapey with the second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you so much. Any public comment slips this evening? Good evening to those of you on electronically via Zoom. Is anyone wishing to address the board this evening? If anyone would like to address the board, please unmute yourself and let me know. All right, hearing none, we will move on to the consent agenda for the evening. For the benefit of those of you who are in the audience today, our consent agenda contains the following items. Payment approval report in the amount of $293,188.29. The minutes from our July 16th, 2024 meeting. Resolution 2024-44 approving authorized signatures for bank accounts. Resolution 224-49 that has to do with the upcoming regular town election on November 5th. Resolution 2024-51 approving a professional services agreement with Steve Stamey for consulting services. Resolution 2024-52 approving an agreement with SGR for interim finance director services. And finally, Resolution 2024-53 approving an agreement with Graves Consulting for interim human resources services. Given all of these items for the consent agenda, I would entertain a motion, please.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
With a motion and a second, may I have roll call, please?
Trustee Tapey,
Yes.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cohen,
Yes.
Mayor Jeffrey.
Yes, and the motion carries. We are moving right along to our action items for this evening. Items A and B are referring back to resolutions 2024-22 and 23, which were first approved May 6, 2024. And it looks that we are planning to open the public hearing and then entertain a motion to continue those to our next scheduled meeting. The time is now 6:35 PM and I will open the public hearing.
Mayor, we won't be taking any testimony on this matter. Instead, we're going to continue on the record BNSF petition number 2 and petition number 3 to August 20th, I believe, at 6:30 PM, as indicated on the agenda and now as indicated publicly on the record. These two matters are being held in abeyance pursuant to 3112-114. We have filed conflicting annexation cases because the area that's sought to be annexed by both of those petitions has also been sought to be annexed by the town of Hudson. And so by operation of law under 114, these matters are held in abeyance. But we want to, because we have noticed them publicly, we want to continue by opening and continuing until such time as we can actually get an annexation election finished.
Thank you very much, Town Attorney Duran. Is there a motion for continuance, please?
I move to continue both of the matters for BNSF annexation number 2 and number 3 to August 20th, 2024 at 6:30 PM at Town Hall, 703 Wells County Road 37, and by Zoom.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Tapey,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cohen,
Yes.
Mayor Jeffrey,
Yes.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Thank you, and the motion carries. Action item C this evening is Resolution 2024-25, accepting and finding substantial compliance of an annexation petition for certain real property located in Weld County, Colorado, to be known as the BNSF Annexation Number 4, and setting a public hearing on such petition in accordance with the Municipal Annexation Act of 1965. Mr. Rand, Mr. Yukert?
Thank you, Mayor Jeffrey. The town has received 2 petitions signed by the landowner, BNSF Railway Company, for annexation, between annexation number 4 petition and annexation petition number 5. These both together include approximately 82 acres of land, generally located as set forth in your staff report at the southeast corner of County Road 41 and County Road 6. Annexation number 4, which is in your packet, the substantial compliance resolution number 2024-45, essentially encompasses the vast majority of the parcel of land that is at that corner, approximately 60 acres. And then reverse flagpoles up County Road 41 and up the frontage road up to the point on County Road 8, which has already been annexed at that point into the town of Hudson. Annexation number 5, which is resolution 2024-46, annexes a portion of land, a strip of land, also roughly within that 60-acre parcel there on that southeast corner of 6 and 41. And then reverse flagpoles down County Road 6 to the intersection of 45. This will set up a conflicting annexation situation, which we are all too familiar with the town of Hudson, which has previously accepted a petition for annexation of the Ranchos West parcel, the Hudson Ranchos West parcels, which purport to come down the Frico Canal and the Denver Hudson Canal. It's the Near East Canal and the Denver Hudson Canal. And then seek to annex that portion of County Road 6 that's roughly sits between those 2 canals, as shown there on that map. So annexation number 5 will, does initiate trigger the 3112-114 conflicting annexation provisions, and we will be filing or an annexation election with the district court in similar manner as was done with the BNSF 2 and 3. I am here tonight, or you're here tonight, because there's a 2-step process when you try to annex property. And the first step is you have to find that the annexation petitions are substantially compliant with the requirements of 3112-107. And that statutory provision lists certain criteria that they have to meet. They have to have contiguity, you have to have the proper landowner signatures, all that kind of thing. The resolutions themselves that are in your packet recite those requirements and how this annexation, both of these actually individually meet those requirements. And so this is the first step. You would find that they substantially comply with the provisions of 3112-107, and then you would set it for a public hearing within 30 days, or no sooner than 30 days. We need to publish notice of that public hearing. And so the resolution sets that public hearing, I believe, for September 17th, if I'm correct, at 6:30 PM here at Town Hall. And so taking those resolutions one at a time, 45 is the substantial compliance resolution for BNSF annexation number 4, and resolution 46 is the substantial compliance resolution for annexation number 5. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you very much. Do any of you have questions?
I do note that counsel for BNSF is present on Zoom. If you have any questions, particularly for BNSF, related to this annexation, but again, this is a parcel of land, and maybe I didn't tell you this, that BNSF hadn't finished acquiring through a condemnation process at the time that we initially annexed BNSF 1, 2, and 3. So this was an after acquired parcel, like, if you will. And that's why it's coming forward this evening.
Thank you so much for all of that information. Anybody have questions or comments? If not, I would be willing to entertain a motion.
I move that the Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 2024-45, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Lochbuie, Colorado, accepting and finding substantial compliance of an annexation petition for certain real property located in Weld County, Colorado, to be known as the BNSF Annexation Number 4, and setting a public hearing on such petition in accordance with the Municipal Annexation Act of 1965.
Second.
With a motion and a second, may I have roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Cohen,
Yes.
Trustee Tepe,
Yes.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Mayor Jeffrey.
Yes, and the motion carries. All right, second verse, same as the first, perhaps. If there's no questions or comments, I would also entertain a motion.
I move that the Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 2024-46, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Lochbuie, Colorado, accepting and finding substantial compliance of an annexation petition for certain real property located in Weld County, Colorado, to be known as the BNSF Annexation Number 5, and setting a public hearing on such petition in accordance with the Municipal Annexation Act of 1965.
Second.
With a motion and a second, roll call, please.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Mayor Jeffrey,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Cohen,
Yes.
Trustee Tepe,
Yes.
thank you, and the motion carries. Action item E is in regards to Resolution 2024-47. Mr. Larman.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. This request is for the purchase of a new to us but slightly used 2012 international dump truck that's equipped with snow fighting equipment. As the town continues to grow and our maintenance responsibilities increase, it's necessary to keep up with the proper amount of equipment so that we can support and maintain our facilities. And that's what we're asking tonight. I do want to note that this purchase was not anticipated during last year's budget. However, we do have some projects that were planned and budgeted for that are not going to be completed this year. That will, diverting those funds into this purchase, those funds are available. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have questions regarding this resolution? Is there a motion?
I move to approve resolution 20-47, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Lochbuie, Colorado, approving the equipment purchase for the town's Public Works Department and authorizing the town administrator to execute an agreement necessary to complete said purchase in the amount not to exceed $79,300.
Second.
Motion and second are given. Roll call, please.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Mayor Jeffrey,
Yes,
Trustee Tepe,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cohen,
Yes.
and the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving right along, Resolution 2024-50. Mr. Ukert, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This amendment number 2 to their original scope of services includes a few items, one of them being another timing and sequencing look at updating our water treatment plant. We're needing more capacity, as you know, which was the scope of some of the first agreements. It also goes with our water master plan. So we're looking at an interim solution before a major expansion, but we also want to make sure that that major expansion can handle the interim solution. So we're not putting in things and having to take them out. So a more orderly process to that. More importantly, the largest piece of this new scope is a utility program management aspect. And the engineer, Brian Daw, who handles this for Blue Water, the Blue Water team, he is very well equipped to handle this for us. And what that means is, as we work on these two plant expansions, they're literally interconnected, and they have so many joint aspects to them that having someone to manage that instead of, just having the engineer work on water and the other engineer work on wastewater. And as you know, staffing is, we're kind of at capacity. So we're utilizing the same consultant who has the bandwidth. A few other projects of his are winding down. So he's started to take over the meetings we have, create agendas for those, a task list, and the log for all the decisions, the decision log on there, but integrating all the teams. So there's the engineering, there's our water engineer, for the town, in addition to these two products, and our water attorney. So coordinating all of those and keeping track of that and the decisions that we make moving forward, so that when it comes time to award the bids for these, that we've really looked at everything to make sure that it's working together. So this opportunity presented itself, and I jumped on it very quick to ask him to do that for us. He's already started that at our meeting last week, and it's just a blessing to have that and someone to be able to manage these integrated projects that are so critical for our growth and development. I know I said a lot of words there, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for all of that information. Does anybody have questions or comments for AJ? All right, is there a motion?
I move to approve resolution 2024-50, amendment number 2 for additional engineering services for the water system master plan, not to exceed the amount of $57,750.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Chape,
Yes.
trustee White,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cohen,
Yes.
Mayor Jeffrey.
Yes. And the motion carries. All right. Action item G is in regards to resolution 2024-48 concerning a vacancy in an office of trustee. Mrs. Bowen.
So as you all know, we have a vacancy in the office of trustee. I believe the plan is this evening to hold the interviews and then maybe appoint next meeting.
Yeah, we had scheduled, there were two letters of interest. The other gentleman is not here this evening. Heather left him a message before. But yes, we could kind of, I guess if you want to proceed tonight, Walter is here. But also I know maybe talking about, because this is going to be a two-step process. Initially, it was envisioned to have both interviews tonight. And the resolution was before you to appoint someone. So that'll be now kind of broken up over two meetings. But a discussion on the process, I think, would be really good, so everybody understands what to expect and what everybody's expectations are as we, after we have the interviews, and then how, when we talk about the resolution, how that works and the discussions that will be done out in public. This is something that doesn't fall under the state statutes for an executive session. So this will all be done during noticed meetings.
Thank you very much. Mr. Van Loo, thank you very much for being here this evening. Did you guys want to give any other direction before we start?
I forgot to mention, I think I had sent these earlier. These are just some sample questions. I mean, they're not.
And have we heard from our other interested neighbor at this point?
Not today.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's start with maybe Walter, you stating your name and address for the record and a little bit about why you're interested in being part of our board.
Sure. My name is Walter Van Loo Jr. I live at 236 Weston Avenue in Lockbowie, and I've been a resident of the city for 5 years now. I was a previous trustee and would like to join the team again. And I did have fun last time, and I really enjoyed it. So I would like to do it again.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Do you guys want to just each take turns asking any questions that you have? We'll start with you, Mayor Pro Tem Cohen.
We have pre-prepared questions because we're spoiled. Let's see, a trustee seat on the board requires a significant time commitment, as you know from experience, usually 2 to 4 monthly meetings. And reading prep before meetings, how will this fit in with your other commitments?
I have the time available, so no problem.
What do you believe the role is of the board in our community?
The role of the board is to make laws, to pass resolutions to help our city grow, and generally take care of the city and its population.
Okay. Do you think you have any personal or professional relationships that could become a conflict of interest while serving as a board member?
I do work for the city and county of Denver, and I have checked with attorneys there, and there's no conflict.
Thank you. What is your approach to handling controversial and complicated issues?
Like to hear both sides' story and then make my own decision.
What skills and experience do you have that would benefit you as a board member?
Well, I do have previous experience of being on the board. I have 3 kids and soon to be 2 grandkids, so I deal with conflict all the time. I'm also the senior SharePoint administrator for the city and county of Denver, so I deal with people on a day-to-day basis all day, so no problems there.
I'm going to skip 6 because you've served for us before. I'm going to move on to question 7, which is based on what you know about town government. What do you see as top priorities right now for Lockbowie? Is there anything that's, on your radar?
Well, getting all the annexation completed for the railroad, getting anything that needs to be done for the Quick Trip and that whole area there, along with getting a few of our roads open again. And I guess the big thing coming up would be the festival.
I have a question, another question, if you don't mind, that's not scripted.
Go ahead.
So given the times we live in, we're all in constant conflict, politically and otherwise. We live in a very mixed community. It's a nonpartisan board. We have a pretty good line of communication. How, what do you bring to the table? What's your approach in working with and serving people who may have differing political opinions, religious opinions, or just different from you in lots of ways? Sorry, there's a bug up here.
Yeah, there was one bothering me over here too. You have to come in with an open mind. You can't have a closed mind. You can't have your own opinion and stick with it. You have to listen to the facts. You have to listen to your constituents' opinions and then make a ruling based upon what's going to be best for everyone, not just a specific person. And I come into it knowing it's a nonpartisan position and
I'm trying to take notes. Do you guys have any other interview questions that you want to ask this evening? Is there anything else you'd like to share with us that you think would help us make our decision?
I don't believe so.
I just want to publicly say that the two board members that were not able to be here for extenuating circumstances, they send their apologies to you. And we as a board have consistently established in our time together that we all think it's important to have our voices be heard, especially since we are having a big task of filling a vacancy seat. So we appreciate your understanding and patience, holding off just a little bit longer so we can make a decision.
No problem.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Walter, quick question.
Yes.
You said you're expecting 2 grand?
I have one grandchild now that's 2. And then I'm expecting a second one on October 21st to be, I have a grandson and this will be a granddaughter.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
So can we talk about the process and what's next?
Yes, let's do it.
So I guess my question is, first off, the other gentleman who did submit a letter, since we do have some time built in because we're missing some trustees and we have some time built into the schedule, can we give him an opportunity? We're demonstrating tonight, we have trustees that miss meetings for a reason, so can we give him an?
Is that okay with
Absolutely.
you? Yeah, that's okay with me.
To see if, so the direction, just so I'm clear, is to ask him to come interview with you before the next meeting and then you would move forward with the decision. I'm only saying that because it's the end of August and kind of up in the beginning of November. To drag it out much longer beyond next meeting. Yeah.
We do have a time clock, right? Don't we have a, I
You
mean,
have a 60-day climb clock from when your position became vacant, I think.
30 days ago.
So there's some time on that. It's more, you're asking somebody to serve potentially only till the first meeting in November. So, you know what I mean? Like,
If we, so the difference between appointing today versus appointing at the next meeting is one meeting. So as long,
and you can, you have in the past appointed at the beginning of a meeting and people take a chair.
that happened to me.
Happened to
That-
you.
that-
Yeah.
Moved from there to there. and
Exactly.
You were on the hot seat.
Here's your packet. Have a nice day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so is really what you're asking is if we drag this out one more week, one more session for interviews, would it be our intention to appoint at that next?
I guess that's all I was asking. And ultimately, this is your process, not mine. I was just throwing that out there as a
Correction, yeah.
consideration for you.
My want would be that we give the second part, what's Austin, an opportunity to attend the next meeting, speak before us, but that we do the intent to be that we appoint in the next meeting that we have. Hopefully we'll have everybody here.
I would agree with that. I'm in support of it. And if we, for some reason, hear that Austin's no longer interested, I assume that you will notify us and let us know and we can make a determination, or we can still just take action right at the beginning of the next meeting.
Yes, and I'd also like to talk about the whole taking action thing. As I've, from my appointment to Mr. Van Loo's appointment, Jeremy's appointment, I feel like I've seen 3 different processes. So I'd like, kind of like us to discuss what, so we, you Austin, then what? Is it whoever gets on the motion fastest? Will there be an opportunity for us to discuss sort of how we feel? I feel like that's the most healthy thing to do, to have some discussion and then there are we bound to a
There's absolutely
process?
no guidance in state law. So I think that the process is something that you all believe is a fair and open process. And so a conversation before a motion makes sense to me because it's always difficult if, if you have three candidates and one of them's Hannibal Lecter and somebody makes a motion to appoint Hannibal Lecter, it's very uncomfortable to vote against that. I understand that. So maybe you just make sure you have your discussion before you have the first motion on the table.
But also, I think it's important to remind people of Robert's Rules of Order and parliamentary process that once a motion is made, there can be further discussion before we move straight to the vote. So if somebody does jump the gun and you have a strong opinion one way or another, you do have the ability to speak up and say something. We generally don't do that because we all get along so well. I'm just kidding. But I just want to make sure you guys all know that that's part of parliamentary procedures, that we don't have to go straight to the vote. But I would agree. I have always wondered why there's not like a written established procedure or process, but if there's no guidance from the law.
I would ask.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can certainly write up a process that you want to be sort of a trustee policy on how you're going to fill vacancies in the future, and we can.
Are you
that up.
saying you'd like us to consider that?
Are you gonna write the policy? No, I think we should get through one and see how it goes and then talk about it.
I just think we've
we have
had
bigger
4
picture,
of
right?
them in my almost 6 years on the board. That's a lot of turnover. So it's something to think about. I just was curious.
I don't know. I don't have an opinion yet. We'll see how this one goes. I don't mind having some flexibility in process. What I do mind is when we have people sitting up here, myself first, that don't know what the process is going to be. And then it feels like it's shenanigans when, one person does one thing and nobody knew. So that's why I wanted to have this discussion. I would also like to ask, so at the next meeting, after we interview Austin, Mr. Van Loo, you are of course welcome to be here either way. When we have discussion, will we, I think it would be nice to offer our candidates the opportunity. If you would like to stay in the room, please feel free. But if you'd like to step out, if it feels awkward for us to be talking about you while you're sitting here, for that to be an option as well. But it's an open meeting, so you can.
That's fair. Would the consensus from the 4 of us here tonight be sort of what Dawn described, which is we interview Austin, have our opportunity to ask questions, and really the questions should be the same ones we asked Walter tonight. Then we move into a time of discussion regarding both candidates and have a period for each of us to share anything we would like to share. And then we could see if we want to make a motion. Is that what I understood and heard you?
Yes.
And so everybody's voice has an opportunity to be heard, correct? And then do you think to guide our discussion about the candidates that maybe a couple of kind of reflection questions are necessary? I could try to come up with some of those, or just want to share, just people can share what they're thinking after hearing both candidates.
I'm okay with people sharing whatever they want to. I mean,
Is that
what I
okay
like
with
about
you?
this person, what I like about this person.
That sounds very good to me as well. I think we have consensus there. Okay.
Well, thank
The
you.
motion, just to be clear, at the August 20th meeting, the motion will be to approve this resolution number 48 and with direction to put the name of in there. Okay.
Very good. Anything else?
No.
Anything else from either of you?
I guess I just want to ask, I'm very comfortable making a motion for Walter to resume his seat. So it's a little hard to say, let's wait again until next time. But I do think it's very important that everybody have a say. I have no idea where May is. I had a discussion with Kat. She said she really didn't mind as long as the seat was filled so we could work at full capacity. So my only question is, let's say if we find out before from Austin, for some reason, he says, hey, I just don't think now's a good time. If he follows up, then would we be able to move forward right away? Like we would just,
Heather and I were just discussing putting this as the first action item on the agenda next week.
okay. Okay, and should for some reason us not have a board, are we still gonna move forward next time, no matter what, in case everyone's not here? I'm just wondering, as a board, I know we prefer everybody, but I don't think we can postpone it again after today's meeting. I hope everyone's in attendance at the next one. but
Yeah,
if
I-
they're not.
I feel like this is fair notice. I mean, crap happens.
Yeah.
Things come up in people's life, but if you're not here at the next meeting, don't get to vote. That's just the deal, unless we don't have a quorum and then we have to go again.
Good forum.
Yes.
Okay,
We always need
thank
a
you.
quorum.
Very comfortable then.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that I saw Peggy nodding as well. We need to make a decision on August 20th and keep moving forward, regardless of who's sitting here. Okay?
And to that end, on quorum, I will say this, and I think it's important. Stuff happens and people can't always make it. But we are in this position right now where we're continuing these important matters to the very next meeting because of what might happen with the court in the interim. And if we don't have a quorum and we miss a meeting and we've missed that date, we're going to be in a position where we have to do start overs. And so I guess I would encourage all of you to be really in communication with Heather. So, if two of you are absent for some reason, I mean, stuff happens. We still have a quorum, but if we're not going to have a quorum, we're going to have to cajole somebody to show up by Zoom or something like that. It's really important from here for the foreseeable future that we are able to set a quorum at every meeting. And that's just me putting that plug in there.
I have to zoom in sick. That's a thing. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's really important right now. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's discussion. Walter, thank you again. We hope to see you on the 20th and have a decision. All right, staff and attorney updates. Anything else from any of you this evening?
I've got one thing. I sent an email, just before the meeting with a few things, knowing that we have 2 executive sessions after this. The one thing I noticed in the news, in the Brighton paper was that Adams County, where'd it go? Adams County has a fire ban, in effect. So we will, I think just through social media, let everybody know that for our, part of our town in Adams County that these fire bans are in effect. I mean, I know the fire departments know that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that is entirely in the Brighton Fire District. Is that accurate, Chris?
Yes.
Okay. So they're aware of it. We just need to make sure our residents know, and it's, no fireworks, no sky lanterns. And so level 1 bans, bonfires, recreational fires, fire pits. So just all that, be smart with fire and don't do it out in this area. And that's all I have for tonight.
So I'll give everybody an update on County Road 4. We've received preliminary information from our geotechnical engineer, which was allowed us to proceed into preliminary design far enough to where we can submit the project to FRICO to start the review process. We actually have a meeting with their project team tomorrow, just to make sure that they generally concur with our findings. We are sending a contract to a general contractor tomorrow to get them on board to be ready and able to jump on the project as soon as we get the green light. So things are happening. I know you haven't seen any of the big drilling rigs or anything out there. It's just kind of a mad scramble to collect all the soil samples, and then the analysis does take some time, but we are working feverishly behind the scenes to get that road open. We are working with, stakeholders in the area, including the school district, keep them updated on everything that's going on, as well as all the emergency services and neighboring communities. So we're doing everything we can to get that project going as fast as possible.
Thank you so much for the update and for all the hard work on that. Any other dates? All right, we will move on to mayor and trustee comments. Trustee Tapey.
I was going to say to Chris, I didn't realize how much truck traffic went down County Road 4. It's been interesting to see the amount going down 168th or County Road 2 now. But man, we appreciate all that you're doing to get that taken care of.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, there is a lot of truck traffic on Road 4. It is a posted regional trucking route. So it is a very important piece of road, and that is not lost on us.
Thank you. Trustee White?
Also just County Road 4, so you guys are just repairing it. We're not at this point thinking about any like expansions or improvements. That's gonna have to probably be 4 lanes at some point with the railroad.
That is correct. The process, forgive me if I have already mentioned this at previous meetings. We are looking at structurally reinforcing the existing culvert with a product called shotcrete, which is basically concrete that's applied with a hose. You put a steel cage inside of it, so it's structurally reinforced. And although it's a repair in the broad sense of the word, it is basically putting a brand new culvert inside of this culvert. So that was part of the effort in figuring out if this method was feasible, is that we had a lot of flow calculations and things to make sure that we could meet the design standards for the ditch capacity and some of the other particular standards, ACI 350, which is just a concrete spec that we would have to meet with that. And through all of the investigation, we've determined that we can meet all of those requirements.
Thank you. I know there's just gonna be so much growth happening over there, so just thinking in the future. And other than that, I just really wanted to say, Walter, thank you so much for coming and your willingness to continue to try to serve the community.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Cohen?
I don't have any updates or anything. Walter for coming and speaking and being willing. That prep meeting, we had pretty good turnout, which was nice. So
Thank you. I would echo the same thing. Thank you, Walter, for being here. Thank you for the candidate forum. That was very nice. And then the only other thing I think that I would share tonight is really, I was really pleased with the turnout at Oasis. Was that almost 2 weeks ago? I don't know, whenever it was. July 25th, maybe. Really good turnout, even though we only got about an hour in before the weather turned terrible. My kids had fun. I had fun. I gotta say hi to a lot of people, which felt weird in a swimsuit, but I went down a water slide for the first time in a long, long time, and that was super fun. So thank you for that partnership, and I look forward to hearing what we find out about other rec centers coming up, but I know it's not our top priority right now. We will now entertain a motion to go into executive session, and I do think it would be okay to put them both together.
Can make a motion reciting both of those grounds for executive session.
Perfect. Thank you.
I move to go into executive session pursuant to CRS section 24-6-4024B with town council to discuss annexation matters and answer legal questions regarding the same, and to receive and instruct negotiators regarding the ongoing library litigation.
And
Thank
just
you.
so we're clear, just make sure we have a good record on that, that the motion on instructing negotiators is pursuant to 24-6-4024E. That's
One
it.
is E and one is B. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee White,
Yes.
trustee Chape,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cohen,
Yes.
Mayor Jeffrey.
Yes. And the motion carries. So we'll, I don't know why I muted my microphone. I got a little push button happy. We'll take about 5 minutes, let everybody that's not going to be here for executive session get moved out, and then we will resume.